So anyway, very good afternoon, and we'll start with today's class. See, last class we spoke of Aloes. Okay. So before I continue with Aloes, we'll look at the few key points of Aloes that was discussed, so that we have some kind of a continuity, and then we can start with the remaining part of Aloes. Okay. So we'll have a quick recall of what was done. If I remember, we spoke of three major headings of Aloes. One was very good sphere of action, ailments from good, characteristic symptoms, and we also spoke few mental symptoms. Okay, so we'll quickly recall the sphere of action. Where did you see Aloes acting? Liver, yeah, very good. Liver, portal vein. Okay, portal system, rectum, intestines in general, and large intestines in general, and specifically rectum. Okay, so specifically rectum. Done. So any other areas? Skin. Good. Yeah, acting on skin, it will cause eczema. So this was the sphere of action. Done. So I hope that part is clear. And then we also spoke of ailments from. Ailments from we had plenty. Any ailments? Sedentary habits where the person is sitting for a long period. Alcohol, especially beer. Ailments from beer. And then oyster. What was oyster? It's a type of fish, and that fish we call it as shellfish. Good. Oysters. Unripe fruit. Okay, unripe fruit. Then exposure to hot weather. I used one word. What was that word? Getting overheated. Okay, summer, getting overheated. They all come under ailments from. Okay. So now after ailments, we spoke of few characteristic symptoms. What was characteristic in Aloes? Okay, hemorrhoids are like bunch of grapes. Good, agreed. Want of confidence. And I shared you in the last class, want of confidence is not at the emotional level, it is over the sphincter ani. The sphincter ani will be relaxed. Okay, meaning it will be weak. So they have to have a hold on it. Okay, so they feel, for example, if they are passing gas, they feel stools will escape. Good. That was there, and he was also talking of hemorrhoids. What was the character of hemorrhoids we saw in Aloes? Hemorrhoids like bunch of grapes. It is purplish, the veins are enlarged, and they are like bunch of grapes. Okay, good. Then itching and burning. Okay, see, there was this one question one of our young friend had asked. What was that, sir? Worms, many times, they cause itching in the anus. Okay? So, you mean to say that every child who has worm infestation, we can think of Aloes, was one of the questions a good friend of yours had asked. See, what you need to understand is, first of all, in Aloes, it is mentioned under PQRS. Not necessarily the itching should be because of worms. Okay? There are many remedies in our homeopathic materia medica which have better results on worms. Okay, for example, somebody will talk to you about Cina. Cina is a secondary remedy. Okay, it's a child remedy. So in Cina child, there will be itching in the anal region. There will be itching, irritation in the nose. Child will be cranky. That could be because of worms. Now, what is the situation I told you in Aloes? That there is sleeplessness, and the sleeplessness is mainly because of itching in anus. Assuming the itching in anus because of worms, also there is loss of sleep, you can still think of Aloes. But Aloes is not simply given for worms. Okay, many times Cina is blindly given for worms, but we don't give Aloes blindly for worms. But a patient, not necessarily a child, not necessarily that he has worms. Okay, hope I am not confusing. I hope the question of your friend is clear. What is the question? Sir, is it only because of worms they will have itching, and is aloes a very good remedy for worms? Is what she wants to clarify. So what I am trying to tell you is, in aloes, the itching need not be because of worms. First point. And itching, see, for example, because of worms, they may scratch, the child might still sleep. Okay. But in aloes, what is the situation? The person is not able to sleep. There is sleeplessness because of itching in illness. Okay. So whether it is because of worms or it is independent of worms, you can still think of aloes. Okay. So aloes had sleeplessness, and we also saw few mind symptoms. Mainly we spoke of discontentment and very irritable, angry. Huh? Fear. They had a lot of fears. What were the fears? Fear of blood. Fear of doctor. Fear of physician. Okay, generally discontented, dissatisfied person. Aloes. Okay. So now we look at a very important area. Now what is this important area? The important area we are discussing is आगे बैठो, कोई बात नहीं बैठो, एक आधा घंटे के लिए बैठो, चलेगा. Okay, yeah, it's clear now. Okay, चलो. So आराम से बैठो, कोई बात नहीं, बिना एप्रन चलेगा, लेकिन दिमाग खुला रखना. चलो. Okay, so we are looking at the particular symptoms. Okay, very important. Now what do you understand by particular symptom? Now what is a particular symptom? See, uncommon is what? Characteristic. So what is a particular symptom? Very good. Related to a particular part. See, we discussed this under Drosera. Under Drosera particulars, what did I tell you? We mainly spoke of respiratory. In Alemsipa, I told you particulars. No, I told you particulars. Under particulars, we discussed GI, we discussed legs. See, particular means a symptom pertaining to a particular part. Okay. Like for example, any symptom from head to toe. Fine? Head, eyes, ears, nose, hand, abdomen, all these things will come under particulars. Under particulars. First thing, as a second year student, you should know what a particular symptom is. A particular symptom is a symptom pertaining to a particular part. Okay. It pertains only to a particular part. Sir, how will the patient tell you? Sir, my finger is paining. Okay. Sir, my knee is hurting. Please remember, there is one word which is coming in common. Sir, my head is aching. So what do you see here? The patient is constantly using the word my denoting a particular part. Exactly opposite is my eye is opposite. But if you are looking at the materia medica point of view, what is that symptom? Very good. It is a general symptom where you say, sir, I feel thirsty, or I am angry, I am jealous, fine, I feel like crying. So you use the word I here. Now why you are using the word I? Because I is denoting, yes, very good, I is denoting the entire you. Fine? The whole of you is being denoted by I. Okay. So I is what we spoke a little later. In the last class we spoke the mind. Okay. In the last class we spoke the characteristic symptoms. The desires. What are all the desires of Aloes? Desires for, very good, apple. So will the patient tell, sir, my mouth likes apple? Wrong English. I love apple. Why you are using the word I? Because it is your liking. You are liking as a whole. You don't say, sir, my stomach, bechara moo. No, you don't use those words. So I represents you as a whole and my represents you as a part. So we are looking at the particular symptoms. Now typically I will not tell you from head to toe. For a second year student, Aloes particulars I will not tell you from head to toe. Okay? I will be focusing on head. More than head, what is important for us in Aloes? JAT, very good. JAT. So what you see is, we'll be focusing on the GA complaints. I'll explain. And we'll also look at the, what is this? Okay, this is amelioration, this is aggravation. And the combination is what we call it as modalities. So in next 30-40 minutes, our agenda for today's class is we'll be looking at the particular symptoms of Aloes, and there again we are focusing on the head complaints, GA complaints and the general modalities. Okay. Now one big challenge for a material medical student. Now what is the big challenge? To remember, very good, brain is fast. He is representing the class as a whole. General symptom. Okay, yeah, that is particular symptom. So what we are trying to do here is, what is your CR trying to tell? Sir, remembering materia medica is a challenge. Okay. Now I will make it more specific. Remembering particular symptoms will be more difficult. Some of mind you can remember. Chalo, fear of doctors. Chalo, kosa remedy. Aloe, arnica. I mean, somehow you can remember. But when you talk of symptoms from head to toe, in 50 remedies, a lot of confusion will start. कौन सा remedy में कौन सा headache? Fine? Okay, that will become a little difficult. So we as material teachers, we have a small formula to understand particular symptoms. So to understand particular symptoms, what is the first criteria is you should know where the remedy is acting. Okay, what we call it as the sphere of action. Unless you have understood last class, this class will not be interesting. So this class is related to our previous class. Every class is related. Fine. So you have to be very careful. Done. So sphere of action, ailments from, they become important. And the third thing here is the characteristic symptoms. Okay. And the fourth thing what you need to remember here is modalities. This is the materia medica part. Okay. Now the other part you need to have knowledge is you should have knowledge of your allied subjects, meaning anatomy, physiology as a first year student, and now that you are into second year, you should know pathology and toxicology. So if you have the knowledge of these subjects, then particulars will become very, very easy. Okay. So keeping this formula in mind, we will try to understand a particular symptom better. Okay. So we'll just look at head. Now when I say head, what can happen in Aloes? Very good headache. I'm happy with the speed. Very good headache. Now can you give more information about Aloes headache? Okay, one thing is the location. Very good. Where is the pain? What is the sensation the patient is having? And what aggravates, what ameliorates? Okay. Head sweating. Okay, we'll complete. We'll just see what it is. First thing is the pain in Aloes will be mainly in the forehead. Pain will be in forehead. So this is the location, and then we have something very important here, as if enlarged. Now what is this? The patient feels as if his head is enlarged. Now what type of symptom is this? What type of symptom is this? Can the head enlarge? So what is it? It is more of a feeling. So in this symptom the patient can feel. Only patient feels. Very good. Who was that? Correct. Loud. Subjective symptom. So in subjective symptom, only the patient feels. So this is an example for subjective symptom. They feel head is enlarging. In reality, head will not enlarge. But that is the feeling they have. So congestion feels full. Okay. And they feel as if head is enlarged. And one symptom I expected from you. Where did this symptom come from? No. Where did I mention this? Under characteristics. If you remember, I had shown you a pattern where there are things which are alternating. So you have alternating symptoms. Now what headache alternates with? Lumbago. Very good. Good. Keep it up. So one, you have headache alternating with abdominal complaints, or headache can alternate with hemorrhoids, or headache can alternate with what you told, lumbago, and headache can alternate with uterine complaints. Okay. So So in aloes, you have headache, mainly the forehead is getting affected. They feel as if head is getting enlarged, and headache alternates with abdominal, hemorrhoids, lumbago and uterine complaints. Small topic, okay. Now more important for you as a second year student is theory. They ask a 5-mark question. Very commonly asked in your exams, describe the rectal symptoms of aloes. It is a commonly asked question. 100% you get this question in your exams, 5 marks. So we'll just try to understand what can happen. Now as a second year student, what do you think aloes can do acting on the abdomen, acting on the lower bowels? What do you see? It can cause, very good, it can cause increased peristalsis. So indirectly it can give us to diarrhea. Good. Only diarrhea? Huh? Very good. Dysentery? Good. Constipation? Okay, chalo, constipation. Huh? Very good, beautiful, good. One of your friends says, that is very important, no? You are all telling me grapes. Yeah. Hemorrhoids. Just remembering grapes will not do. Correct, no? But what looks like grapes is important, no? Something looks like grape, something looks like grape. Chalo, what looks like grape? Hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are purplish in color and they look like, meaning it is swollen, it is enlarged, and it gives a feeling like grapes. Like bunch of grapes. Bunch of grapes. Not grape, bunch of grapes. So, as rightly told by you, acting on the lower GI, aloes can produce diarrhea, very important, and one of your friends said dysentery, good, and again the other friend of yours told piles or hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids. 3 things. 5-mark question. Concentrate. Okay. So we will go in a very systematic way of understanding the rectal complaints. This is how we are going to write in your exams. Okay. Now first thing is we are focusing on cause. What can cause diarrhea, dysentery and hemorrhoids in aloes? So where are you going back? From where do you get this information? We are going back to ailments from. Now what ailments I had given, they were general ailments. Out of those general ailments, we are trying to pick up those ailments which can act on the rectum and cause all the 3 things. Okay, now get back. Now come back. What are all the ailments of aloes? Hot weather, very good. Your friend is very specific. Sir, exposure to hot weather, diarrhea. Chalo, good. Unripe fruits, good, agreed. Beer, and oysters. So the causative factors could be sedentary habits. One of your friends said constipation. One of your other friends said hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids and constipation coming after sedentary habits. Okay. So ailments from sedentary habits and ailments from beer, rightly told by the boys. Ailments from the beer and oysters. Okay. Good. And getting exposed to or getting overheated. And one of your friend told eating unripe fruit. So these are all the ailments from. And then we are looking at the next point. What is this? Sphere of action. Very important. You will have to mention sphere of action. Okay. Now, see, you can change if you want. Mention sphere of action first and then mention ailments from. Okay. So sphere of action, I am not putting skin here. I am not putting other things here. What is it that we are focusing here? We are focusing on the J. Acting on the J. One of your friends there said it acts on the muscular coat, if you remember, and it increases peristalsis. So diarrhea. Okay. So it acts on the muscular coat of the intestines, increases peristalsis, and the result is diarrhea. And second thing, I have something important for you. What is this? Portal vein. What has portal vein got to do in aloes? There is and in the bargain, the rectal veins can get enlarged. So what happens when the rectal veins get enlarged? Yes, very good. When the rectal vein gets enlarged, it causes hemorrhoids. So this information you will get from your pathology. So that's why I've been insisting. You have to integrate other subjects in understanding materia medica better. Okay. So what is the topic we are discussing now? We are discussing the rectal complaints of Aloes. Okay. And under that I am just trying to tell you how to write or how do you remember systematically. So we spoke of sclerofaction, we spoke of ailments from, and then we are looking at one area that Aloes can produce, and that somebody rightly told was diarrhea. Okay. So as a second year student, diarrhea, what do you want to explain diarrhea under? What headings you want to explain diarrhea? Somebody comes to you with diarrhea. So, I know it's too early to ask questions, but somebody comes to us with diarrhea. What could be the probable questions you make up? Questions, क्या पूछेंगे आप patient से? Okay, how many times? Very good. Yes, all of you. How many times? Many times. How is this stool? Good? After eating what? Chalo, very good. Ailments from. We discussed. At least in Aloes, I gave you the ailments from. How many times? Very good. Okay, and then you also ask, कैसा है? मतलब जुलाब बोलते हैं ना हम लोग. Diarrhea. How is it? What is the character? Good. It makes sense. Any other questions you would like to ask? Okay, very good. Do you have any pain? Chalo, good. Pain from behind. Jora. What else? What are all the other questions you ask? Students behind. You need to be loud. Onset, very good. What do you mean by onset? Okay, when it started. When? Is it sudden? या धीरे से चालू किया? Fine, tap opening जो भी है. Okay, fine, चलो. And now that you are talking about Aloes, you also ask one more question. You are able to control. चलो, good. Any other questions? Very good. Do you have mucus? Why mucus becomes important? One of your friends said dysentery. When you are looking at dysentery has mucus tools. In pathology they will be telling there are basically two types. From your bacteriology you will be understanding bacillary and amoebic. Okay, good. I don't know, there are many more, but basic types, amoebic and bacillary dysentery. Okay, so good. Any mucus, it comes under character. See, first very important thing, when you are looking at Aloes, this becomes very important. What becomes important? Sense of insecurity in the rectum. Can somebody explain what exactly I mean by this? Want of confidence over rectum. So how will the patient present to us? Doctor Sahab, many times, I have to focus. मेरा full attention उधर ही रहेगा. Right? Because, I have to hold it. If I am leaving it loose, I am afraid. Why are you afraid? I don't know. It may just escape without my knowledge. Or many times I feel I am farting. I am passing gas. But Doctor Sahab, how embarrassing it is. Gas के साथ motions भी निकल रहा है बाहर. So there is a lot of insecurity in that particular area. I hope all of you are clear. And this is very, very important in Aloes. Right? There are many remedies in our materia medica which has diarrhea. But only few remedies have this, insecurity in that particular area. Now why is the insecurity happening there? What happens there? Go back to the sclerofaction. Very good. Weakness of the sphincters. Why weakness of sphincters? Because, yes, good. The ligaments, the connective tissue. What is controlling the sphincter? That becomes loose. That becomes relaxed. So you are losing control on what you generally should have control over. Okay. So insecurity, stools, escapes with flatus, these things have to be underlined. And I told you something very important. Very good. Early morning diarrhea. These are the symptoms that you need to underline. What is it? Early morning diarrhea. How early? Huh? So I have something very good. Diarrhea early in the morning, between 5 to 6 a.m. Diarrhea between 5 to 6 a.m. and it drives him out of the bed. Diarrhea drives him out of the bed. Okay. Now your friend was telling a point. Character. What do you mean by character? Color, is it watery, semi-solid? Do you have undigested food going on? A lot of things. Okay. So what is the character here? In the Arthakta, girls, what is the character here is, the character of stools will be yellow. Okay. Bright yellow. Bilious. What do you understand by bilious? They are passing by. Bilious. Bloody, watery, spluttering. What do you mean by spluttering? Huh? Rush, more than rush. See, spluttering means noisy. Noisy. But. Right? So, stools, which makes a lot of noise. Okay, for patient, it might be very embarrassing. They open the tap to avoid the noise going outside the room, outside the washroom. Or the wife inside might be telling, open the tap. I can't hear I can't hear the noise. Both Joseph are under. It can be either ways. If the patient is very uncomfortable, he might open. Our patient might be in a different mood. He is sitting on the commode. Uska chinta uska hoga. But a very sensitive wife who is in the kitchen, she might come and knock the door and tell, आवाज कम कर या नल ओपन कर, मेरे को आवाज सुनाई नहीं दे रहा. Because she is cooking, she will be in a different mode. She will be in a different mode and he is in a different mode. So there will be a lot of issues. Okay, so I'm meaning spluttering diarrhea. Spluttering is noisy when you have a lot of sound. See, sound is when he is passing stools, or there can be gurgling in the abdomen. Okay? Even abdomen is making a lot of sounds. Good. Right? Good. Right? So gurgling sound in the abdomen, see how nicely they tell in your Materia Medica, like water being poured from a bottle. Go back home and whatever water is remaining, when you pour it, what kind of sound it makes is what the gurgling Aloes has. Okay? See, these are all symptoms told by the patient during proving. So they use all common words what the patient uses. Now what happens before diarrhea? See, before diarrhea there can be this gurgling sound in the abdomen. Yeah. And rumbling or gurgling sound in the abdomen. Sudden urging. You getting my point? Meaning, see now, can somebody explain why the sudden urge and why he has to rush to the washroom? Beautiful, good. Because he cannot even pass gas or he cannot manipulate that area. जो चीज उसके कंट्रोल में होना चाहिए वो कंट्रोल खो गया है. Right? From your anatomy, from your physiology, sphincters which should be under your control, that control is lost. So he has to literally rest because he is afraid where he will soil his clothes. भागना पड़ता है उसे washroom की तरफ. Right? So before stools and during stools, during diarrhea, there is something very unusual in Aloes. Just have a look at the PPT and during stool they feel hungry. They feel heat in the anus, chilliness, and at times they can even faint. Okay, so this is what happens. Faint. What is the other reason why Aloes will faint? Very good. Under mind I told no. Looking at blood, he can faint. Okay. Because of dehydration, so much of water, so much of fluids gone, he may faint. So before stools, during stools, and then there is something. And what is that something? Something is after stools. What do you think will happen in Aloes after stools? Very good. Dehydration. So much of fluid you have lost. So weakness. Very good. See, that's why I tell you it's a very simple subject. Don't complicate. Understand. So much of diarrhea, so much of fluids being lost. So what you see here is there can be profuse sweating and weakness. So there can be sweating and there can be weakness. Sweating and weakness. Okay. So before, during, after, and then when it is more. When is the diarrhea more? When is the diarrhea more? Aggravation? Morning? 5 to 6, very good, agreed. Any other aggravating factors? I'll give you a small clue. Many times, many ailments can be aggravating factors. Okay, for example, you have diarrhea. Diarrhea is caused by unripe foods. Again, you eat unripe food. It can cause. Okay. Eating, drinking. I have few for you. Morning 5 to 6 a.m. Please remember the time. It's important. After eating, getting overheated, before menses, drinking and walking. All these things can bring an urge to pass stools. Okay? Can bring an urge to pass stools. And then we have amelioration. When is the diarrhea better? Okay? So diarrhea better lying on his abdomen. When he lies on his abdomen, the urging reduces. The diarrhea reduces. So this is the diarrhea part of Aloes. Now one last thing what we also have is diarrhea can be associated with concomitants. It can be associated, alternates. Diarrhea alternates with constipation. Doctor साहब 3 दिन motions बहुत गट होता है, 3 days it is very hard and next 3 days it is very loose. So this is what that continues. So this is what we call it as alternating symptom. Alternating symptom. Diarrhea alternates with constipation. Okay. See, rectum, we saw 3 things can happen. What are those 3 things? Diarrhea, dysentery and hemorrhoids. Diarrhea we have taken in detail. Okay. Now we are looking at the next area, and this, from the knowledge of your anatomy, this is what? Rectal veins. Rectal veins. So what will happen to the rectal veins in Aloes? They get dilated. Okay. So, and it gives rise to hemorrhoids. And hemorrhoids in Aloes will be like bunch of grapes, purplish. Okay. And it is very, very, must be it come somewhere here. Yeah. Very sore and tender. You cannot touch it. It pains. You cannot touch, it pains. It burns. And there is stitching in anus, which can also prevent sleep. And hemorrhoids which can bleed. See, these dilated veins, they can start bleeding. And a constant bearing down in the rectum, as if something is coming out, is a feeling what they have in the rectum. Okay. And hemorrhoids after suppressed eruptions. Okay. Now this is something new for you. Somebody has some skin rash, some skin eruptions, they apply ointment, it is better. Okay. And then they landed with hemorrhoids. Aloes can be one remedy. Okay. So hemorrhoids after suppressed eruptions. I hope this statement is clear. So when you ask this question, since when you have piles, since when you have hemorrhoids, okay? Now the question is, sir, 3 months back I had itching in the skin. I went to a dermat or I went to some doctor, they prescribed ointment. I applied ointment, this is gone. And then, hemorrhoids have come up, okay? And the hemorrhoids are all having this above character. You can think of Aloes. You can think of Aloes. Okay. So this slide is dedicated for hemorrhoids. Okay. Now one last thing I want to mention here is, see, you see alternating symptoms everywhere. Hemorrhoids alternates with headache, or hemorrhoids alternates with lumbago. Aloes. Okay. And the last thing is we'll be looking at dysentery. Dysentery. Now dysentery, as one of your friends rightly said, when your stools either mix with blood or when it is mixed with mucus. Okay. The mucus, the character of mucus here is the stools will be like jelly. The stools will be like jelly. Bloody, watery and involuntary. Okay. Stools will be bloody, watery and involuntary. This is important. Okay. Now, boring pains in the region of navel. When they are passing stools, when they have dysentery, they might also have shooting or boring pains in the region of navel. So these few things you have to remember under rectum. So rectum we will just have a quick revision because for a secondary student it's very important. So what did we discuss under rectum? Yeah, very good. We discussed diarrhea, hemorrhoids, and in between or in the end we also spoke of dysentery. I gave you the headings under which you will have to explain. So first we started with diarrhea, but what was the heading? Sphere of action. Where exactly aloes act and why there is diarrhea. First. Second thing we spoke of causation. Okay. And then we described diarrhea in detail. So when is the diarrhea more? Early morning and more at or more between 5 to 6 a.m. Okay, more between 5 to 6 a.m. And what aggravates diarrhea? Eating, drinking, walking and hot weather. Before menses. Okay. What is the character of stools in Aloes? Diarrhea, watery, yellowish, bilious. Good. Sometimes it can be bloody. Spluttering, very important. Spluttering. Don't forget this. Noisy, spluttering diarrhea. Very important. There is gurgling sound before. What will happen during diarrhea? What will happen during diarrhea? They feel hungry. What will happen after diarrhea? Weakness. And hemorrhoids will look like color purplish. Okay. Character of dysentery? Jelly-like mucus. Okay. Yeah, good. So jelly-like mucus, bloody, watery and involuntary stools. And don't forget to mention that they will not have control over the sphincter ani. They will not have control over sphincter ani. Okay. Want of confidence over sphincter ani. Okay. Now we'll look at the last part of Aloes, skin. Skin under characteristic I mentioned few symptoms. What were the symptoms? Eczema, good. What was special in Aloes? Eruptions. What was characteristic? Itching returns every winter. Every winter they will have itching. Okay. Yeah, this is what we saw. And one more symptom. This we mentioned that there is sleeplessness which mainly comes from itching in the anus. Okay. Yeah. Now the last part is the general modalities. I told you modalities even under rectum. What is the difference between that modality and this modality? That was more particular, pertaining to rectum. And what we are discussing now is pertaining to the general, whole of Aloes. So what aggravates? After eating, getting overeated, drinking or walking. What ameliorates? What type of patient is Aloes? Thermals. Hot, very good. So when he is hot, what ameliorates? Opposite. So cold. When he is hot, getting overeated aggravates. When he is hot, cold open air ameliorates. So Aloes is a hot patient. Hot matlab they cannot tolerate heat. They want cold. Chilly matlab they cannot tolerate cold. They want covering. मेरे को बहुत ठंड लगता है डॉक्टर साहब. दूसरे को कंपेयर करने से मेरे को ज़्यादा गर्मी लगता है. Is hot. मेरे को ज़्यादा ठंड लगता है. Is chilly. Okay. So Aloes is hot. And before we close, key points of Aloes. Last two classes, whatever we have done, what are the key points? What is it that you should remember whole of your life, whenever Aloes comes to your mind? So you see that Aloes is a remedy which had lot of medicinal properties, and from old age they have been using Aloes as a medicine. Okay, and we homeopaths, we picked it up, we proved, and we saw that it has main affinity for J, and even in GI, it's not the upper J, not much action on the, though it has some stomach symptoms, not much action on the esophagus and stomach. What you see is lower bowels, the intestines, rectum, very important. Okay, and what we saw was diarrhea, dysentery, hemorrhoids, and that characteristic itch which keeps coming back every winter. And a lot of symptoms in Aloes, they keep alternating. Headache with lumbago, headache with hemorrhoids, good. Headache with uterine complaints, and headache with abdominal complaints. So a lot of alternating symptoms you have in Aloes. And ailments which mainly comes from sedentary lifestyle. Good, sedentary lifestyle. Overeating, unripe fruit. Yeah, we have time and again we have repeated this in Aloes. But sedentary habits is what you need to remember. Okay? Done? Any quick questions? So what happens slowly when many more remedies are told now, we can start comparing. Now I don't know which other remedies are over, which has action on rectum. The only remedy that is over is arnica. And arnica also has beautiful symptoms pertaining to the rectum. We spoke of stools which are flat, and the comparison we gave was more of ribbon-like stools. Good. Then what else you had in arnica? Relating to the rectum. We also had involuntary stools, and arnica is also a very good remedy for dysentery. What is the speciality of arnica and dysentery? See, between two stools now, there will be a lot of gap in arnica. Yes, he's sitting there on the commode. Naturally, dysentery is a very irritating thing. So he has an urge. He passes stool. He still feels there is lot remaining, and for that stool to come, there will be some time. So when there is gap between two stools, see, don't confuse. सुबह एक बार हुआ, फिर रात एक बार हुआ. वीके सर ने बोला गैप ज़्यादा होगा. सुबह का, रात का, ज़्यादा गैप आर्निका. No. When he is passing, I'm talking to you, the things happening on the commode is there. Fine. And somebody is knocking. जल्दी बाहर निकल बे. मेरे को भी प्रेशर ज़्यादा हो रहा है अंदर इधर. बाहर निकल. He is not able to get out because he feels there is something, and stools will come. But the time between the first stool and the next stool, not next stool, the continuation of the stool will take some time. I don't know the exact framing of the word. No. You please read the rectal symptoms of arnica, but this is what it means. He has to wait there for the next stool to come, especially in dysentery. Okay, that is arnica. Okay. When many more remedies happen, we can have a small comparison so that you understand. As a second year student, when arnica, when aloes, or when sulfur, when bryonia, okay, when natrum sulf, when arsenic, all these remedies are beautiful remedies acting on the rectum. Hope I am clear. Hope Aloes is clear. Done? All of you. Chalo. Any quick questions? No questions? Atma.